Oh my God! We're the only car in this whole road!
Welcome to another show of Don't Make Me Watch That. I'm your host, Kevin Given. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, ring the little bell to stay informed of my next video coming out. Also, let me know what you think of this show in the comments section below. And now, from writer, producer, director Ed Hunt, who seems to have seen every Ed Wood and Roger Corman movie ever made, not to mention read every issue of UFO magazine, also the Gold Key Comics adaptation of UFO sightings. This film had so much potential. It was released in the same year as Star Wars to capitalize on the science fiction craze of the late 70s. The aliens and the ships resemble actual UFO encounters that supposedly took place during that era and before. As with Ed Wood, we can appreciate the zeal that Hunt had to make this film, even if he didn't really know how a film is made. At its heart was a good theme that simply wasn't executed quite well. Much like Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
It boasts the star power of Christopher Lee and Robert Vaughn. Oh, Chris, you sit there and dish your worst Dracula films from Hammer, yet you show up in this turd.
This planet called Earth, by its present inhabitants, seems well suited to our purpose. This monitors the condition of our planet's sun.
The plot concerns Captain Ramses, Lee, seeking out a new world for his people to populate. Unlike Plan 9 from Outer Space, which concerns the resurrection of the dead to take over this world, this plan concerns getting people to commit suicide, I assume to make room for the conquering aliens. Professor Alan Duncan, Vaughn, discovers some benevolent, bald, big-headed aliens from Zeta Reticuli. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that one right. They want to help Earth defend from these other aliens that want to take over the planet. The film underwent several name changes during the production. At first, it was to be called War of the Aliens. This, according to producers, sounded too much like Star Wars and Alien. So they changed it to Alien Encounter. But of course, that sounded too much like Alien and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So they finally settled on Starship Invasions. I personally think it should have simply been called Star Invasion. That way, it would remind you of Star Wars without being too derivative. After all, they had Star Trek, Star Wars, and Star Lost. So Star Invasion would have been a perfect title, in my opinion. And this is from Super Reviewer on Rotten Tomatoes. Being the UFO nut that I am, I thought it was really cute how they begin the film with such a classic male abduction encounter, reminiscent of, for example, the Antonio Villas-Boas case. So here we have this farmer being whisked aboard the UFO and immediately sees a naked alien woman. Probably the hottest woman he's ever seen naked, if you know what I mean. He's not exactly Chris Hemsworth or, George Clooney or anyone like that. He's more of an overweight Jim Varney type. But anyway, he sees this naked woman, and he does what any normal red-blooded American male would do.
Oh, we did what you're supposed to do when you're in a room alone with a naked lady.
Especially since this is probably the hottest woman that this man has ever seen in his life. So yeah, who wouldn't? Are you telling me you wouldn't? Anyway, I don't want to get into a discussion about that. Just saying that this mirrors the abduction case of a similar farmer that actually claims this happened to him back in the 1950s, which we mentioned before in this video. So, I don't know. I mean, Captain Kirk went out with a bunch of alien women, some even green.
I believe you mean that.
We know what Eddie Murphy said about Captain Kirk and his green alien. But anyway, I mean, yeah, she's hot, but...
Hello, Rudy.
Who knows what kind of alien disease she has? Maybe, space herpes or something. Who knows? Anyway. Probably the most amusing part to this movie is that scene.
What was that? What?
Space herpes.
I was also quite happy to see that they used real UFO photography instead of faking their own pictures. The gray makeup would have been fantastic had they only managed to balance the extra mass on the actors' heads evenly. Now, a couple of them were a bit lopsided, which looked a bit silly. Not nearly as silly as everything else, though. Okay, to be honest, the winged serpent logo was awesome. But oh dear lord, the headgear! I was constantly reminded of the Wicked Queen in Snow White, except that Ramesses people had mistakenly placed their crowns underneath the black span spandex hood. I can totally understand why Christopher Lee doesn't want to talk about his participation in this film. This film had such high ambitions, but was produced by people who obviously don't know how to make movies. During the space battles, the ships from both sides all look the same, making it impossible to know who's firing on who. At one point, the aliens spend several minutes describing how the ship is powered and flies. This shows the writer's expertise on ufology of the day, but makes the film boring and slower paced than it needs to be. Do you see Scotty giving lessons on how warp drive works in Star Trek? Or Han Solo describing how the Millennium Falcon goes into hyperdrive? No, they just push the buttons and the ship works. Or has to be fixed. We don't need that much exposition. We just accept these vehicles as what they are in their respective universes. So, for the zeal of wanting to make a great science fiction film, although it falls far short, they should have hired an actual director and a science fiction producer from somewhere, I guess. But for the zeal, I'll give it 2.5 stars.
You were ordered not to interfere.
And that's all the time we have this week for my 2-minute review. Hope you had a good time watching the video. Check out some more of my videos. And until next time, live long and prosper. May the Force be with you. Keep reading comic books and keep watching those pop culture icons. And don't forget to keep listening to rock and roll. If you love comics and pop culture as much as I do, you'll subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to stay informed of upcoming videos. Please share this video, as that will help me gain subscribers as well. I also want to remind you to check out my columns and reviews on 2 sites, Comics for Sinners and Comic Crusaders. I also have my own franchises, Adolescent Radioactive Samurai Platypi and Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter. The latter has been picked up by Cutthroat Comics. Check the links below for more details and the link to Dracula Rising, which is available on Amazon. Here's some great artwork from Raphael Lanohouse from the origin story Foul Blood. Once again, available on Cutthroat Comics. See the links below. I also have a book which is a collection of my reviews and columns called Comics, Pop Culture, and Politics. You can also find t-shirts and posters on Teespring. Again, check the links below for all Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter merchandise.